The arc started. Jinwoo was just leaving when a voice called out to him. Turning around, he saw a man, Adam White, a high-ranking official from the Federal Bureau of Hunters. Adam had been searching for Jinwoo, even visiting his office, but tracking him down was no easy task. That reminded Jinwoo of something. His guildmate, Jinho, had mentioned a foreigner dropping by. Curious, he asked Adam what the Bureau wanted from him. Adam smirked. I have information no one else in the world can give you. Jinwoo narrowed his eyes. Why are you willing to give me that kind of information? Adam remained cryptic but assured him it would benefit them both. He revealed that after the shocking events of the Jeju Island raid, even the deputy director wanted to meet him. A car was already waiting if Jinwoo was interested. But Jinwoo wasn't one to trust so easily. He told Adam he'd think about it. Sensing hesitation, Adam decided to drop a bombshell. Have you heard of an upgrader? Jinwoo froze. That was a term he had never heard before. An upgrader, Adam explained, was a rare awakened being with the ability to enhance other hunters' powers. Intrigued, he agreed to go. Jinwoo arrived at the hotel, where the deputy director, Michael Connor, greeted him. Through Adam, who acted as an interpreter, they got straight to business. Michael slid a stack of documents across the table, an offer for American citizenship. If Jinwoo joined them, he would have the full support of the US government, but Jinwoo wasn't here for politics. I came here because Agent Adam told me I can learn about the upgrader, he said firmly. Jinwoo's gaze sharpened. Was this even possible? Michael grinned. Then, let me introduce you. A door opened, and a woman entered. The moment Jinwoo laid eyes on her, he felt something different about her presence. This is Norma Selner, Michael announced. The only person in the world who can enhance a hunter's abilities. Selner, sensing his skepticism, smiled confidently. You doubt me. Everyone does, until they experience it. She explained that hunters had natural limits, barriers they couldn't break through, unless they were reawakened. Jinwoo leaned forward. And you can make that happen? Selner nodded. Not instantly. It's a 3-step process, but by the end, I can push a hunter beyond their limits by 20 to 30%. Jinwoo's eyes widened. That was an absurd increase. No wonder top hunters would do anything for this power. He now understood why Huang Dongsu had moved to America. Then, a thought crossed his mind. If people knew about you, wouldn't that put you in danger? Michael replied. That's exactly why they protected her, ensuring her safety at all costs. He then sweetened the deal even more. If Jinwoo joined, he'd get first priority for upgrades and connections to the strongest guilds. Michael reassured him. No rush. We're offering this as a free service. No strings attached. As Jinwoo pondered, Selner stepped forward. Let's not waste time. Why don't I show you? She gently took Jinwoo's hand and told him to close his eyes. Michael watched from the side, confident Jinwoo would be hooked after this. But then, something unexpected happened. The moment Selner reached into Jinwoo's soul, she saw something impossible. A dark, endless void. A power beyond comprehension. Then, a pair of cold, piercing eyes locked onto hers. Selner gasped. Her body trembled. Sweat dripped down her face. Suddenly, she screamed. Everyone in the room jumped. An agent instinctively turned to Jinwoo. What did you do to her? Michael immediately shut him down. Stand down. Do you know who he is? Jinwoo remained silent, confused by Selner's reaction. Michael turned back to her. What happened? Selner was trembling, her face pale, sweat dripping down her forehead. Realizing something was seriously wrong, Connor turned to Jinwoo. Let's stop here for today. We can continue this another time. He asked Adam. Escort Hunter Sung Jinwoo out. After that, Michael turned back to Selner. Mrs. Selner's, what exactly happened? Still shaking, Selner finally spoke. He's a king. Michael's eyes widened. You mean, a national-level hunter? Selner shook her head. No. I don't know what he is and I've never experienced this before. Her voice quivered as she continued. When I looked into his soul, it looked back at me and he does not have limits. For the first time, the people in the room understood. Jinho sat at his computer, eyes locked on the screen, his fingers moving rapidly across the keyboard. He wasn't just browsing, he was on a mission. False rumors about Jinwoo were spreading online, and Jinho refused to let them go unchecked. He took screenshots, flagged posts, and reported them one by one until he finally leaned back, wiping the sweat off his forehead. A voice suddenly broke the silence. Everything okay? Jinho nearly jumped out of his chair. Spinning around, he found Jinwoo standing behind him, still dressed in his hunting gear. Jinwoo didn't look too concerned but asked if something was wrong. Jinho shook his head and quickly changed the subject. Why are you dressed like that? Just came from a gate, Jinwoo answered casually. He explained that he had brought back some high-level magical cores. Funding the guild was a priority, after all. Jinho was impressed. Clearing a high-rank gate alone? Jinwoo made it seem effortless. At least now, they wouldn't have to worry about money and paying future employees. Jinwoo looked confused. Employees? Jinho nodded. We still need one more person to officially register the guild. Hearing that, Jinwoo suddenly remembered 3 members were required to form a guild. He sighed, realizing they had to find someone reliable, not just a random person to fill the spot. Before he could say anything, Jinho shifted the topic. There's something even more important we need to talk about. Jinwoo raised an eyebrow. What is it? Jinho with his tone serious. We need to choose a name for our guild. Jinwoo let out a small chuckle. That's the important thing? Jinho shouted. Of course, a guild name is important, it's our identity. Without waiting for Jinwoo's response, Jinho started listing possible names, suggesting guild names, Sunyu Guild, combining their last names, Woho Guild, blending parts of their names, and even Jin Guild, taken from their middle names. But Jinwoo, without much thought, suggested solo play guild since he usually fought alone. Jinho was surprised by Jinwoo's suggestion. Jinho stared at him, trying to figure out if he was joking. Before they could debate further, a knock at the door interrupted them. Jinho got up and opened it. A woman stood outside. Is this Hunter Sung Jinwoo's guild office? Jinho nodded, then froze when he recognized her, Cha Hae-in. Jinwoo was just as surprised. What was she doing here? He asked her directly, but her answer was straightforward. I want to join your guild. Jinwoo frowned. Did the Hunters Association send her? Had she been kicked out of her previous guild? Cha Hae-in shook her head. Neither was true. Then why do you want to join Solo Play Guild? Jinwoo asked. Cha Hae-in looked caught off guard. That's the name? Yeah, Jinho and I agreed on it, Jinwoo replied. No, we didn't. Jinho quickly objected. Jinwoo ignored him, his focus now on Cha Hae-in. Something didn't add up. He observed her carefully, her breathing, her posture, her expression. She seemed composed, but he could sense she was holding something back. Then, a thought crossed his mind. Cha Hae-in had awakened 2 years ago. Shouldn't she still be under contract with her guild? Cha Hae-in answered stunned Jinwoo. She was willing to break her contract and even pay the penalty herself, without expecting anything in return. Jinwoo frowned, confused. Why, he asked. Why join a guild that has nothing to offer you? Cha Hae-in lowered her head, silent. She couldn't bring herself to say the real reason. Ever since their first meeting, something about Jinwoo had drawn her in, his presence and his scent, like he was the only light in the dark world. She remembered Jeju Island, the moment she had accepted death. Yet, when she woke up in the helicopter, still alive, the first name that came to her mind was Sung Jinwoo. The Hunters Association president had even confirmed it. Jinwoo had brought her a sense of comfort, even in the face of death. Embarrassed, she found it difficult to admit that she wanted Jinwoo by her side until the end. It was something deeply personal, something she couldn't put into words. Finally, Cha Hae-in met his gaze and gave a simple answer. I just want a quieter life. Jinho, however, had his own thoughts. He reminded Jinwoo of the pressure Cha Hae-in must have faced from the Hunters Guild. She was only 22 or 23, still young, and yet, they would have done everything to make her stay. Jinwoo understood the weight of being an S-rank hunter. He knew the struggles the Hunters Guild had endured after Jeju Island. He sympathized with Hae-in. But that didn't mean he would accept her without question. If she truly wanted to join, she needed to prove it. There's an entrance test, Jinwoo said. Jinho flinched at the words. Wait, we never talked about. Jinwoo cut him off smoothly. It's our new policy, so the vice master must have made a mistake. Jinwoo was already sending him off to buy drinks and snacks. Cha Hae-in didn't protest the test. Instead, her eyes hardened with determination. Jinwoo almost hesitated. Was she really taking this so seriously? The test is simple, he explained. You'll have to face one of my summons. My strongest one. Cha Hae-in didn't even flinch. Let's do it now. Jinwoo was impressed. No hesitation, no fear. She was completely ready. Alright, he said. We'll head to the Hunters Association gym. They both stood up at the same time, as if in sync. Then, he turned to Cha Hae-in. We don't need to go the usual way. There's a shortcut, just stay close to me for a moment. Cha Hae-in felt a lump in her throat as Jinwoo stepped toward her. He was closer than she expected. Before she could react, he activated his shadow exchange skill. They sank into the shadows without a sound. At that exact moment, Jinho returned, holding a tray with tea and snacks. Where did they? He spotted someone else in the room. Jin was high orc soldier Bamond. The huge orc looked at the snacks, then at Jinho, then at the snacks again. A second later, he snatched them up and started eating. The lights flickered on automatically, as soon as they teleport into the gymnasium, responding to their mana. Jinwoo and Cha Hae-in traveled through the darkness. Jinwoo studied the experience closely. confirming what he had suspected. The shadow exchange skill worked by creating a passage, allowing him to take someone with him. The ground acted as the entrance, and their destination was wherever one of his shadow soldiers stood. It was an incredible ability, instant travel over long distances. The only limit? A 3-hour cooldown before he could use it again. Just as they were about to begin, a sudden realization struck her. "My weapon," she muttered. "You're not thinking of using a pickaxe again, are you?" Jinwoo teased. Her face turned red as she recalled that ridiculous moment. "Of course not." Jinwoo chuckled, clearly enjoying her reaction. "Relax, I'm just kidding." Still flustered, Cha Hae-in decided to borrow a weapon from the gym's storage. She walked over to the access door, scanned her hunter's license against the keycard reader, and entered. Jinwoo mentioned that the gym's weapons were meant for practice, not the best quality, but good enough for sparring. She picking a sword similar in length to the one she usually used. "This will do," she said confidently. Jinwoo, however, had his doubts. "Are you sure? Fighting with an unfamiliar weapon could put you at a disadvantage." Cha Hae-in didn't hesitate. "In real battles, monsters don't wait for us to be fully prepared. We have to adapt." Jinwoo smirked. She was right. In a real fight, hesitation meant death. With that settled, he stepped forward. From his own shadow, a figure emerged, a knight dressed in dark armor, his presence imposing. It was Igris, Jinwoo's most skilled swordsman among his summons. Jinwoo kept his explanation short. "The rules are simple. If you destroy the summon, you win. If you surrender, you lose." He had considered summoning Baru for this, but fighting with Baru would be traumatic. Even for Cha Hae-in, fighting Baru could be overwhelming. Instead, Igris was a more reasonable choice. Cha Hae-in nodded in understanding, gripping her borrowed sword tightly. But Jinwoo wasn't quite done. "Turn around for a second," he instructed. Cha Hae-in hesitated but did as he asked. The moment she turned her back, Jinwoo reached into his inventory and retrieved the Demon Monarch's sword. He handed it to Igris without saying a word. Now, everything was set. Jinwoo signaled to Cha Hae-in. "We're starting." She turned and immediately noticed something was off. Igris was holding a different weapon, a sword crackling with blue electricity. Before she could react, Igris swung the blade. A bolt of lightning shot toward her. Without thinking, she leaped back. The attack barely missed her, slamming into the wall behind her and leaving a scorched mark in its wake. Jinwoo watched, impressed. That speed. A regular hunter would have been hit before they could even react. But Hae-in? She had dodged it flawlessly. She didn't waste time. Tightening her grip, she charged forward, eyes locked onto Igris. Igris met her head-on, raising his sword to counter. Their blades clashed, sending sparks flying in every direction. Meanwhile, on the highest floor of the Hunters Association building, Go Gun-hee sat at his desk. Then, something caught his attention. The gymnasium was lit up. That was strange. It was supposed to be empty. He pressed the intercom. "Could you direct the camera gymnasium feed directly into my room?" A live video appeared on his monitor. What he saw made him pause. Inside the gym, Jinwoo and Cha Hae-in were fighting. Gun-hee was surprised at first, but then he smiled. He wondered if Jinwoo and Cha Hae-in were in a relationship. He recalled how, after the Jeju Island raid, when Cha Hae-in had first regained consciousness, the first words she had spoken were, "Where is Jinwoo?" The thought made him grin as he watched them. Wanting to give them privacy, Gun-hee told his secretary to turn off the gym's surveillance cameras. He marked it as a maintenance check in the records. Once the TV screen went black, he chuckled to himself and returned to his work. But suddenly, a slight shock in his office. The walls rippled from the force. Gun-hee didn't even look up. His smile remained. The energy of youth, it warmed his heart and content. He focused back on his reports. Jinwoo started to realize something. He had underestimated Cha Hae-in's strength. Even though he had given Igris the powerful Demon Monarch sword, Cha Hae-in was still too strong. Igris was overwhelmed. He crashed into the wall. But Cha Hae-in wasn't satisfied. She questioned if Igris was really his strongest summon. She wanted to face the strongest one right now. Jinwoo hesitated. "You might get hurt? It's fine. Besides, I want to fight him again," Cha Hae-in said firmly. Jinwoo exhaled. "You knew?" Cha Hae-in nodded. "I saw it in person, and also in a video." She was determined and he summoned Baru. The air grew heavy. A dark aura spread across the floor like ink, seeping into every corner of the room. A low, eerie chittering sound echoed as the space trembled. From the abyss, Baru emerged. Unlike normal shadow soldiers, Baru was different. He was made for one purpose, to kill hunters. Baru turned to Jinwoo, waiting for his orders. Jinwoo gave a clear command. "Defeat Cha Hae-in, but do not harm her." With his mission set, Baru let out a fearsome battle roar. The entire gym shocked. The roar was so powerful that the light bulbs shattered. Cha Hae-in could feel Baru's raw power. his sharp claws extended, ready to strike. But before he could move, Jinwoo gave a stern warning. "I said do not hurt her." At once, Baru retracted his claws. His killing intent faded. His loyalty to Jinwoo was absolute. Cha Hae-in saw that as opening. In a flash, he reappeared behind her. She recognized this move from before. She wouldn't fall for it again. Despite being caught off guard, her reflexes kicked in. She launched a series of rapid attacks. Her sword moved dozens of times in an instant, but Baru dodged every single strike without even moving from his spot. His movements were so fast that they left after images. The difference in strength was too great. Baru followed Jinwoo's command: defeat his opponent without hurting her. He knew this would be easy. His goal was simple: show Cha Hae-in the gap in their power. Make her realize she couldn't win. But Cha Hae-in refused to accept it. No matter how many times she attacked, Baru dodged everything with no effort. She couldn't understand how. Even when she aimed for his neck, he just leaned back slightly, avoiding the blow. She tried changing her attacks, but nothing worked. He was untouchable. Confusion and frustration filled Cha Hae-in's mind. She had never faced an opponent like this before. Baru stepped closer, closing the distance. At that moment, she felt it was over. Baru's mouth opened wide, and let out a terrifying roar. A powerful shockwave blasted through the air. The force of his magic sent Cha Hae-in flying back. She barely managed to steady herself, stunned. Jinwoo watched the one-sided battle, frowning. Turning to Cha Hae-in, he asked if she was satisfied, but the fire in her eyes hadn't faded. She refused to give up. Even against impossible odds, she still wanted to fight. Jinwoo studied her, trying to understand. He hadn't expected her to keep going. Not after seeing the overwhelming gap between her and Baru. Baru was different from the others. Unlike most of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers, he wasn't just intelligent, he was a born killer. Even now, Jinwoo could sense it. Baru was holding himself back. His thirst for blood was clawing to the surface. Jinwoo hoped Cha Hae-in wouldn't push too far. If she aimed for a weak spot, things could get dangerous. Suddenly, Baru snapped. His instincts screamed at him. A prey was refusing to bow to its predator. That was unacceptable. His claws extended. With a furious snarl, he lunged at Cha Hae-in, but she dodged. They locked eyes, and in that moment, the tension between them exploded. Cha Hae-in knew she had to go all out. She activated her strongest technique, sword dance. Her movements became faster, sharper. Her blade cut through the air like a flowing dance. Each strike came at Baru from a different angle, relentless. But Baru blocked every single one. His claws clashed against her blade, the sound ringing out. And Baru hated wasting time. His patience snapped. As Cha Hae-in's sword came toward Baru, he caught it with his bare hand. Then, with a crushing grip, he shattered it. Half the blade broke off. But Cha Hae-in didn't falter. Her eyes burned with determination. She channeled all her magic into the broken sword. She was about to use a technique she had never tried before. 4 swords of light. Her blade glowed. This was her moment. Baru had lowered his guard, thinking she was defeated. Hae-in lunged forward, aiming straight for his chest. Jinwoo's eyes widened in alarm. For a brief second, Baru's mind reset. Jinwoo's command, defeat her without harming her, vanished. An old order from his former queen reappeared: annihilate all enemies. Baru's entire being changed. His eyes locked onto Cha Hae-in. She wasn't a sparring partner anymore. She was an enemy. With deadly intent, Baru lunged at her, claws outstretched. Cha Hae-in froze. Her body wouldn't move. She couldn't escape. As the claws closed in, she shut her eyes. She braced for the end. At the very last second, Jinwoo stepped in. With his bare hands, he caught Baru's claws. The force of the impact shook the entire gym. Baru trembled. His eyes met Jinwoo's, and realization struck him. He had disobeyed. His body shook in fear. Without hesitation, he leaped back, dropping to the ground. Then, he begged for forgiveness. Jinwoo understood. Baru's instincts had been too strong. For a moment, his loyalty had been overridden by his old nature. Jinwoo sighed. Jinwoo watched Cha Hae-in, his brow furrowed. Her determination made no sense. Why was she pushing herself so hard? This was just an entrance exam for a nameless guild. A hunter like her didn't need to risk her life over something like this. He sighed, then asked, why? Why was she doing this? Cha Hae-in didn't answer. Her silence only deepened Jinwoo's confusion. He pressed further, searching for a reason. Could it be? Was she interested in him? The thought was ridiculous, and yet, it was the only explanation he could think of. Cha Hae-in's eyes widened, as if his words had jolted her out of a trance. Maybe there was another reason behind her determination. But then Cha Hae-in took a breath, collected her thoughts, and quietly admitted, Jinwoo was right. She thinks she has feelings for him.